The most dangerous power is not violence, not wealth, not armies. It is the silent ability to bend another person's will without them realizing it. Influence is everywhere, woven into families, politics, business, even love. Yet most remain blind to its presence. They live believing they act freely, while unseen hands steer their choices. Why is it that some men command attention effortlessly, bending crowds as if by instinct, while others, no less intelligent, vanish into the noise of the world? The answer is not charm, nor luck, nor goodness. It is strategy. Machiavelli uncovered 3 principles of influence so ruthless, so effective, that they are rarely spoken aloud. They were not designed to make you liked. They were designed to make you obeyed. What you are about to hear is not a lesson in kindness. It is a lesson in domination. Most people believe influence is simple. Be nice, be convincing, be talented, and others will naturally follow you. This belief is comforting, but it is also false. Influence has never been about who is smartest, kindest, or most deserving. It is about who understands the hidden levers of human behavior. Without that knowledge, you can speak endlessly and still be ignored. With it, you can whisper a single phrase and change the course of a room. The silent enemy is not your lack of ability. It is your blindness to perception. Human beings do not make decisions logically. They respond to emotion, to social hierarchy, to unconscious bias. A trembling voice is dismissed, while a calm pause is respected. A man with confidence can speak nonsense and still be believed, while another with truth in his hands is overlooked because he lacks presence. The world does not reward merit. It rewards psychology. Look closely at how groups work. In meetings, the one who speaks first frames the discussion. Others follow even if they disagree. At social gatherings, people gravitate toward whoever commands the most presence, not necessarily the most wisdom. In politics, leaders craft narratives that bypass logic and strike fear or desire, and crowds obey. Everywhere you look, decisions are engineered long before they are made. The contrast is brutal. You may think you are free to choose, but your choices are already shaped. You may think you decide who to respect, but your respect is guided by subtle cues: tone, posture, repetition, scarcity. What you call preference is often manipulation. You believe you choose based on reason. In truth, you are pulled by unseen strings. This is why so many fail at influence. They focus on words while ignoring the frame. They argue facts while their opponent controls the perception. They try to be liked when they should be shaping desire or fear. In the end, the powerless talk, hoping to be heard. The powerful frame, ensuring they are obeyed. Until you see this hidden problem, you will always wonder why others rise while you remain overlooked. You will think it is unfair luck when in reality it is design. Influence is not about playing fair. It is about understanding the battlefield of perception and claiming it before anyone else can. The truth is dark, but undeniable. In the struggle for influence, merit is noise. Only those who master perception bend the world to their will. From the time you are young, you are told the same story. Teachers, parents, and society repeat it like a holy script. Be good, be honest, be nice, and people will respect you. It is one of the most seductive lies ever created, because it feels safe. It makes you believe that if you are agreeable and kind, the world will reward you. But look closely, and you will see the truth. Niceness without strategy does not earn respect. It earns dismissal. In workplaces, it is always the agreeable one who takes on extra tasks, softens conflict, and nods politely. Everyone likes him, yet when the time comes for promotion or leadership, he is overlooked. Why? Because people like him, but they do not follow him. Meanwhile, the strategist, the one who speaks with authority, sets boundaries, and commands presence, rises upward, even if he is less liked. In social groups, the nice person is tolerated but rarely admired. He avoids offense, laughs when uncertain, and apologizes quickly. People may find him pleasant, but they do not instinctively look to him for direction. In contrast, the one who projects strength even ruthlessly becomes the figure others orbit around. Niceness may win smiles, but power wins loyalty. The brutal truth is this: being liked is comfort, but it is not influence. Being feared and respected creates weight. It gives your words gravity and your presence authority. Machiavelli understood that a ruler who is only loved is fragile, but a ruler who is respected, even feared, holds true power. Love is fickle. Fear endures. This does not mean cruelty for its own sake. It means that honesty, kindness, and morality without strength are incomplete. Influence requires more than being good. It requires being untouchable, decisive, and willing to use perception as a weapon. The cultural myth keeps you docile, useful to others, but never a threat. The contrast is clear. Niceness without power makes you invisible. Strength with strategy makes you unforgettable. Society tells you to choose the first path because it keeps you weak, predictable, and easy to manipulate. But if you want true influence, you must see through the lie. The world does not reward those who are merely liked. It rewards those who can command respect even in silence. The agreeable man may be praised, but the strategist is obeyed. And in the end, it is obedience, not approval, that shapes the destiny of leaders. Niccolò Machiavelli lived in a world of treachery, shifting alliances, and ruthless ambition. What he observed was not the romantic vision of humanity preached by philosophers, but the raw truth of human nature. People are not rational. They are emotional, self-serving, and easily swayed. They cloak their actions in morality, yet beneath the surface, their choices are guided by fear, desire, and survival. This was Machiavelli's dark mirror, the reflection no one wanted to see. He understood that truth, logic, and fairness rarely decide outcomes. Influence is not about being right. It is about being believed. It is not about truth. It is about perception. Whoever shapes perception shapes reality, because people act not on what is, but on what they think is. The weak often try to win by arguing, by convincing, by appealing to reason. They believe that if they just explain themselves clearly enough, others will see the truth. But Machiavelli knew better. The strong do not waste energy on arguments. They do not fight to prove facts. They fight to control the frame, the invisible context that decides how facts are interpreted in the first place. Once the frame is yours, the argument is already won. Consider politics. Leaders rarely persuade through detailed reasoning. Instead, they craft narratives: fear of an enemy, hope of prosperity, the illusion of unity. These narratives become the lens through which people see every event. Even lies can become truth if the frame supports them. This is why Machiavelli's lessons endure. They are built on the psychology of perception, not the fantasy of reason. He also understood something darker. People are inconsistent. Today they praise honesty. Tomorrow they reward deceit. Today they claim to value kindness. Tomorrow they follow the one who terrifies them. To rely on their stated values is to be deceived. To understand their hidden impulses is to control them. This is the essence of influence. Not to argue with what people say they want, but to master what they truly respond to. The strategist learns to pull the levers of perception, while the naive remain trapped in endless debates that change nothing. Machiavelli distilled these insights into strategies so effective and so ruthless that they remain timeless. They are not about fairness, but about control. They are not about being loved, but about being obeyed. They do not make you harmless. They make you powerful. In the chapters ahead, we will uncover 3 of his darkest lessons, strategies proven across centuries to bend the will of others. They are simple, brutal, and inescapable once understood. These are not tricks of charm or persuasion. They are weapons forged in the shadow of human nature itself. The first and most powerful strategy is this: whoever defines the situation controls the outcome. People believe they are debating freely, but in truth, the debate is already rigged by the one who set the terms. Machiavelli understood that the battlefield of influence is not fought with facts. It is fought with frames. Frames are the invisible boundaries that decide how people interpret reality. Once the frame is established, facts lose their power. Consider how leaders frame wars. They rarely call them wars of aggression. They call them defense, protection, or liberation. The public does not ask whether the war is just, they ask how best to defend, protect, or liberate. The frame has already dictated the path. In business, the same trick appears. A company does not call greed exploitation. It calls it opportunity. Cutting jobs becomes streamlining. Manipulating desire becomes marketing. People nod along because the words shape the way they perceive the act. By the time the frame is accepted, the truth no longer matters. This is why weak men waste time on arguments. They try to win point by point, as if piling up facts will tilt the balance. But the strong know facts are malleable. If you control the frame, the other person argues inside your boundaries. They may think they are resisting you, but they are still playing your game. To use this strategy, you must learn to redirect conversations before they begin. When accused, do not defend yourself inside their frame. Shift it. If someone says, "You're being unfair," the weak defend their fairness. The strong reframe. The real question is what's effective. The conversation moves from morality to results, and suddenly the battlefield favors you. Reframing is subtle but decisive. If someone asks, "Why are you failing?" the weak answer with excuses. The strategist responds, "Failure compared to what standard?" Now the question itself is challenged, the frame unsettled. The audience must rethink before the manipulator can proceed. The dark insight is this: facts don't matter if you control the frame. Human beings act not on truth but on perception, and perception is dictated by the boundaries of the conversation. Machiavelli saw that to seize control of the frame is to seize control of reality itself. Think of frames as cages for the mind. Once someone steps inside, they cannot leave without breaking the entire structure, and most will not. They will argue, resist, and even fight, but always within the cage you built. And when the battle ends, they will not realize they were never free. Every human action, no matter how complex it seems, is driven by two forces: the pursuit of desire and the avoidance of fear. These are the primal engines of human behavior. Strip away the layers of logic, morality, or justification, and you will always find one of these forces at work. Machiavelli knew this truth, and he advised rulers to use it relentlessly. Promise people what they crave, threaten them with what they dread, and their will becomes yours. Desire is the bait. It lures people forward, often against their better judgment. Politicians promise prosperity, safety, or change. Lovers promise affection and validation. Businesses promise status, pleasure, or escape. The promise does not have to be fulfilled, it only needs to be believable. Desire blinds the mind, narrowing attention until people no longer weigh risks. They simply chase the reward dangled before them. Fear is the anchor, keeps people from rebellion, from hesitation, from questioning too much. Fear of punishment, fear of shame, fear of exclusion. These chains bind tighter than iron. A ruler who inspires love may hold loyalty for a while, but a ruler who inspires fear secures obedience. People may betray affection, but they rarely risk pain. Together, desire and fear form a perfect trap. A manipulator might promise opportunity while threatening loss. Support this cause and you will be rewarded. Resist, and you will suffer. It is the same in negotiation. The weak appeal to reason, but the powerful say, "Work with me and you'll gain everything. Oppose me and you'll lose it all." Seduction is another battlefield. The suitor who appeals only to reason fails. But the one who awakens desire while hinting at the fear of loss creates obsession. The target feels pulled in two directions, longing for the prize, terrified of missing it. That tension binds them. The weak appeal to logic. They present facts, data, explanations. But logic rarely moves people. At best, it informs. At worst, it bores. The powerful bypass logic and go straight to primal drives. They stir hunger. They spark longing. They whisper threats into the silence. And people move not because of arguments but because their instincts demand it. The brutal truth is simple. He who controls desire and fear owns the will of others. Influence does not require constant force. It requires mastery of these two levers. Offer just enough hope to keep them chasing. Apply just enough fear to keep them from breaking away. With both in balance, the strings of control tighten. This strategy is dark, but it is timeless. From emperors to modern leaders, from seducers to salesmen, the same principle rules. People do not move because of what is true. They move because of what they want and what they fear. Control those and you control them. The third strategy is the most subtle, yet perhaps the most devastating: the art of absence. Machiavelli observed that overexposure breeds contempt. The more people see you, the more familiar you become, and with familiarity comes a dangerous erosion of respect. Influence does not thrive in constant presence. It grows in rarity, in silence, in mystery. Throughout history, the most powerful figures understood this instinctively. Kings did not walk among the commoners daily. They appeared sparingly, cloaked in ceremony, and every appearance carried the weight of spectacle. Their distance created reverence. Leaders who withheld their voices until the decisive moment ensured that when they finally spoke, their words carried more force than endless speeches ever could. Silence, when deliberate, builds tension. It makes others lean forward, desperate for a glimpse, a word, a sign. The tactic is deceptively simple. Do not give yourself away too freely. In conversation, resist the urge to over-explain. In relationships, avoid flooding the other with constant presence. In leadership, withhold your voice until it is truly needed. Absence sharpens value. Rarity intensifies demand. Consider how celebrities maintain allure. The ones who flood every screen and platform quickly lose their shine. The ones who vanish and reappear strategically command intrigue. In negotiations, the person who pauses, who holds silence instead of rushing to fill the void, unsettles the other side and gains control. Even in personal life, the one who does not always answer immediately, who is not always available, becomes the one who is sought after. The weak believe that being constantly seen, constantly heard, constantly available will win love and loyalty. But the opposite is true. Familiarity strips away mystery, and mystery is the lifeblood of respect. Absence does not mean neglect. It means controlling your presence so that it carries weight. The dark insight is this: the less they see you, the more they need you. Presence diluted is presence wasted. But presence rationed becomes power. Like a scarce resource, it grows more valuable with every moment withheld. People project onto mystery. They imagine greatness, strength, wisdom, even danger, in the silence you maintain. This is not withdrawal out of weakness. It is withdrawal as strategy. You are not avoiding the world. You are making the world crave your return. Every pause becomes a stage, every silence a mirror, every absence a reminder of your importance. Machiavelli knew that rulers who are too accessible lose majesty. Leaders who are too talkative lose authority. Lovers who are too available lose allure. To master the art of absence is to master the hunger of others. Appear less, and you will be remembered more. Why do Machiavelli's three strategies, frame, fear and desire, and absence, remain so devastatingly effective across centuries? The answer lies in the architecture of the human mind. People do not live by truth. They live by perception. And perception is built on three psychological pillars: narrative, emotion, and scarcity. The first pillar is narrative. Human beings cannot endure chaos. They crave stories to make sense of the world. Whoever frames the story defines reality itself. This is why controlling the frame is so powerful. Once the story is set, facts and reason are forced to serve it. Rational persuasion may present evidence, but if it contradicts the accepted story, it is ignored. People defend the story, not the truth. The second pillar is emotion, specifically desire and fear. These are the primal engines that drive action. Desire pulls us forward, fear pushes us back, and together they shape nearly every choice. Rational persuasion can inform, but it rarely moves. Emotion bypasses logic and strikes directly at the core of survival. This is why politicians stir panic before offering hope, why seducers hint at reward while threatening absence, why leaders use both promises and punishments. Reason flickers like a candle, but fear and desire burn like fire. The third pillar is scarcity. What is abundant becomes invisible. What is rare becomes precious. This is the psychology behind absence. When you appear too often, you dilute your value. But when you withhold yourself, you create tension. Scarcity forces attention, fuels imagination, and breeds reverence. A silent leader appears more powerful than a loud one. A scarce presence becomes a magnetic one. Scarcity transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. Together, these three pillars form a web of perception. The manipulator who controls the frame, fuels fear and desire, and masters absence traps the mind at every level. They dictate the story people believe, the emotions people feel, and the value people assign. The victim may believe they are choosing freely, but their freedom is an illusion. The strings are already tied. The contrast is clear. Rational persuasion is fragile. It appeals to logic, but logic is slow, effortful, and easily dismissed. Psychological influence is permanent. Once perception is shaped, once emotion is triggered, once scarcity is established, people defend the illusion as if it were truth itself. This is why Machiavelli's lessons endure. He saw that power is not in truth, but in story, hunger, and mystery. The man who argues facts will be forgotten. The man who frames, who ignites emotion, who vanishes until the moment is right, that man will be obeyed. The web of perception is not fair, but it is real. And once you learn to weave it, you no longer play the game of influence. You control it. Philosophy without practice is useless. Machiavelli's three strategies, controlling the frame, exploiting desire and fear, and mastering absence, are not relics of a brutal past. They live and breathe in the modern world, shaping politics, relationships, and business. The difference is simple. Most people are used by them, while a rare few use them deliberately. To walk among the powerful, you must learn to apply these laws without illusion. At work, influence often decides more than talent. Meetings are battles for frames. The first person to set the narrative usually decides the outcome. If a project is questioned, don't waste time defending inside their frame. Recast it. The real issue is how we secure long-term growth. Instantly, the battlefield shifts. While others argue emotionally or scramble with details, remain calm. Your silence unsettles, your reframing directs, and your presence gains authority. The one who does not react, but defines, becomes the leader. In relationships, the same principles apply. Oversharing creates predictability, and predictability kills respect. Hold back. Let your silence create weight. Do not always be available. Scarcity breeds value. Desire must be stoked carefully. Give enough to ignite, then withdraw enough to keep the flame alive. Love without strength creates dependence. Strength without warmth creates fear. Influence comes from mixing the two, awakening desire while letting absence intensify it. The weak chase constantly. The strong are chased. In society, you are surrounded by propaganda, political, cultural, commercial. Every headline is a frame. Every advertisement manipulates desire or fear. Every platform thrives on scarcity, withholding what you want until you crave more. If you see only the surface, you are controlled. But if you learn to step back, you will see the machinery at work. Question every narrative. Ask, who benefits from this story? Who gains from my fear, my desire, my attention? Awareness does not free you from all influence, but it makes you immune to its chains. The contrast is sharp. Most live as prey, pushed and pulled by unseen hands, surrendering their will for comfort. A few learn the laws and they walk untouched. But here lies the warning. These tools are double-edged. They can protect, but they can also corrupt. To use them recklessly is to become consumed by them, ruling not with strength but with paranoia. Influence without restraint is tyranny, and tyranny always devours itself. The brutal truth is that power cannot be escaped. Either you wield it or it is wielded against you. Machiavelli's strategies do not make you good. They make you effective. Use them with clarity, with discipline, and with awareness of the shadow they cast. For the man who controls frames, desire, fear, and absence does not just survive the world. He bends it in the end. All roads of influence lead back to three principles: control the frame, exploit desire and fear, and master the art of absence. Together, they form a dark architecture of power, tested across centuries, wielded by kings, generals, seducers, and leaders who shaped the world not by truth, but by perception. These strategies endure because they are rooted not in ideals, but in the core instincts of human nature. To control the frame is to seize reality itself. You decide how others interpret the world, and once they step inside your narrative, they cannot leave without tearing down their own certainty. To exploit desire and fear is to take hold of the primal levers that move all men. No reasoning is needed, no evidence required, only the careful balance of hope and dread. And to master absence is to weaponize scarcity, to let your silence and distance speak louder than any speech. These three together make influence not a game of words, but a game of will. Influence is not light, it is shadow. Light exposes, shadow shapes. Light argues, shadow bends. The one who walks in this shadow bends all others, quietly, invisibly, until they mistake your hand for their own choice. This is the essence of Machiavelli's darkest lesson. Power is not declared. It is woven into perception, into hunger, into mystery. The contrast is haunting. The naive still chase approval, explain themselves endlessly, cling to honesty without strategy. They are liked, but not obeyed. They are seen, but not followed. Meanwhile, the strategist says little, holds his ground, and watches the world adjust around him. He is not adored, but he is respected. He is not comfortable, but he is untouchable. These lessons are not about charm or kindness or morality. They are about survival. Influence is the shield that protects you from being bent by others, and the sword that allows you to bend others when the moment demands it. It is not pretty and it is not safe, but it is real. Master these three strategies and you will never beg for influence again. You will not explain, you will not plead, you will not hope. You will command.